it has been withdrawn. And I know the case is in court, but I assure you that it has been withdrawn. It's going back to Cabinet. Cabinet will re-look at it, will examine the bill, and then we'll come to Ghanaians. The other question was on those who are not on the national grid. Unfortunately, there's little we can do. His Excellency's directive was on those who are enjoying the national grid. So there's nothing we can do. But fortunately, and also the good news, is that there's an aggressive program by the current government to increase access to about 90% by the close for 2024. So we hope by then, larger population of this country will be on the national grid. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, very grateful. There was a question about Fred's wife and kids. They tested negative. Also, he mentioned that because, even though he didn't go into details, he mentioned some other nationalities. Because in his line of work, he deals with some other nationalities. He was traced to persons of other nationalities who had earlier tested positive. Now, the e-learning and call center questions that, Kojo, you asked earlier, I think during our earlier briefing this week. Currently, our 311 call center has not been programmed to deal with persons with hearing impairments. But it has been brought to our attention, and we've advised the technical team to quickly see how they can deal with that. In terms of e-learning and distance learning, I spoke to the education minister, who informs me that working with the Ghana Education Service, what they are also seeking to do is for those who are visually impaired, potential radio programming to provide them a bit of the contact. And those who have other challenges, Braille versions of the materials that they seek to use may also be made available to them. But they'll provide us some more detail. Indeed, he tells me he has a meeting with them this morning. He'll provide us with some more details on that one. There's a question about protocols for communication. So currently, we've been able to ramp up to do about 50,000 tests as at last night. Indeed, there are still some samples at the labs that they have to quickly process. The priority is to focus on positive cases and quickly isolate them and treat them within the constraints of time, everything else that they have. So usually it takes a bit longer for negative cases to be told that they are negative. The priority is that focus immediate attention on the positive cases so that we can quickly isolate them and provide them with the treatment. Gender and age statistics for those who are recovering and those who may have passed on. We will get our Ghana Health Service data team to better nuance that data. You know that based on the engagement that we keep having, we continue nuancing the data for our mutual consumption. So we'll engage with them. I think one of the major challenges of the state food distribution effort has been the social distancing challenge, and we have opportunity to speak about it. The ministries of social protection and local government have issued directives on it, and I suspect that you are beginning to observe a certain improvement in yesterday's photos and video monitoring that some of you may have done. That has been one of the major challenges in the distribution of food. In terms of its measurable impact, the idea was to provide some relief or to make more bearable for our colleagues who are vulnerable and homeless to stay at home. Because if you ask him to stay at home and he's hungry, he wants to get out there on the streets and get into some economic activity and then earn a living. So the idea was to make it a bit more bearable. If you juxtapose that with general feedback that we are getting that largely people are complying except for our usual recalcitrant colleagues, you can begin to gauge that it has contributed positively to some extent. Korle Bu laundry workers raising PPE questions. Listening to your question clearly, even though you didn't say it, it sounds to me as though the general nurses and doctors themselves now are no longer complaining at Korle Bu specific, even though you didn't say so. That's the impression I got. However, it is those in the laundry who are asking questions about whether or not they also be given PPEs. That's the understanding I have of your question. What it says to me is that at least PPEs have been available there. The internal distribution is what we need to engage a bit more on. I'm sure as you've mentioned it here, they are all watching and listening, but we will also, through the Ministry of Health and Health Service, draw their attention to it. Sometimes the challenge is that the PPE get there, but the internal distribution, you recall a few weeks ago, we were talking about the fact that in one particular hospital, the feedback we got was that the PPEs were available at ICU, but OPD and emergency were not getting it. The feedback we have now is that that has improved. So we are hoping that as we raised this also on this platform and as we engage with Ghana Health Service, they can also make it work some more. We also encourage the managers of health facilities to also educate their staff on the levels of PPE. Like we say, the PPEs, not everybody uses the same PPE at the same time. So for example, those at pre-triage or those who are going to pick samples, the driver in the vehicle or somebody else associated with them may not wear coveralls and boots and mask and gloves and even the glass sort of helmet that they wear. They may not all have that. Maybe the one who is picking the actual swab may wear all of that, while the rest just wear the N95 and the gloves. But we need to educate them some more so that even they themselves have an understanding of it. Same applies to those in the medical facilities. The fact that we are saying that even pre-triage must have some PPE, that doesn't generally mean that the person at pre-triage is going to have from boots to coveralls to everything as though they were in a theater. I'm sure you understand my point. So again, we encourage the managers of health facilities to assist us with educating people of the laundry, etc., so that they are also managed in their expectation. I think these are responses to the questions that we have here. Owner Resources Company Limited. Owner Resources Company Limited. I understand that you have brought us, actually, yes, you brought us a check for 20,000 cedis. We acknowledge it. World of Champions Ministries. You've also brought us a check for 10,000 cedis. We acknowledge it. And then the Association of LPG Distributors. I understand you have a donation to make. The Honorable Minister is here. We would want to have him to receive. Please step forward quickly. Honorable Minister, please join us and receive that for us. Chief Director of the Ministry, these checks so that we can refer them to COVID-19 Relief Fund. Ministry Chief Director, checks. Social distancing, please. It's a new term we have to live with. Yes. You have a check of 60,000 Ghana cedis to the COVID-19 Relief Fund. Honorable Minister, you may want to receive the check for us. This is your own industry. So on behalf of LPG Marketers Association, a check of 60,000 Ghana cedis. We are very, very grateful for your contribution to this national cause at this point in time. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, gentlemen. You may please resume your seats. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have to draw down the curtain on this morning's very quick brief. And if there are any outstanding matters, we'll deal with them subsequently. Thank you.
Size 2024 and beyond is a movement, and it is stronger than apartheid. It's as strong than apartheid. Nobody can stop it. John Mahama cannot stop it. It's a movement. And the idea 2020 no. Me say ya born to say the Satawale or Bonyumono. What you say high life. Messi Obehu size 2024 and beyond.